welcome to Silver Senders. In today's video I'm going to show you how to upgrade a fork on my Specialized Stumpjumper Comp Alloy, and we are going from the Fox 34's rhythms to the Fox 36 factories. So I'm going to show you how you take the forks off, I'm going to show you how you put the forks on, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks for things that I've learned, and I'm also going to show you the tools that you need. So let's get on with it. Okay, so tools. I've probably not forgotten most of it, but certainly to start off, you're going to need your Allen keys, which obviously are helping us take the forks off, tighten the other forks on. There'll be various Allen keys. You're going to need for the race crown one of these. I really recommend one of these. I think they're about 40 bucks, just because it does a really clean job of getting the crown racer off the fork without you trying to chisel away and put scratches and dent your nice new forks. You're going to need a nice pipe cutter to actually shorten down your forks so they fit your bike. You're going to need the tape measure just to measure things up, make sure that we cut the bars to the forks to the right length. Really expensive if you miscut your forks, because remember, we can take away if you're wrong, but we can't add, so really important we measure. We're going to need a file just to be able to get in there, make the forks nice and smooth after we've done the cutting. We're going to need one of these, not sure what it's called, but it's effectively to help us put the star nut in to the forks so that we can then anchor our stem down onto it. And of course, finally, we're going to need a shock pump. And that's just to be able to set our sag and get the forks set up and ready to go. And then, I don't know if we're going to need it, but always useful just to have a mallet, because we might need a bit of force to maybe either put the crown racer onto the new forks or whatever else. But here's the tools. So now let's get on to taking the fork off the existing bike. So I'm not sure if this is a bit dark, if you can see the bike. I've got it on a bike stand. It's much easier. It means the front wheel's off the ground and it's nice and supported. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start taking off the stem, the headset. The fork should just drop out. Mine just had a rubber cap in the top. I've took that out. So now let's start unscrewing. I'm sure I'm going to speed this up because it's going to be very boring for you guys to sit and watch otherwise. So let's start by undoing the stem. We want to be really careful because what I don't want to happen is the forks to fall a foot to the floor, all the bearings, all the headset, all the good stuff goes flying out. So I've just loosened it. So now what I'm going to do is start taking off the stem. So how's this camera angled looking? It shows off my middle-aged spread quite nicely, it appears. Okay, so I've got the stem loose, so I'm going to go ahead. I might actually just drop the angle now on this, on my bike clamp, just because, as I say, I want the front wheel kind of almost on the floor, because I don't want a big impact where I've got to then start finding all the little ball bearings and bolts and all the fun stuff. So here we go, we take the top cup out. It's really, what's also useful is once you get it out, you've got all the spaces on the top, lay them down somewhere in front of you so you've got the order in which those spaces came off. So I've got the cap, I have two spaces, then I have my stem, which I haven't quite loosened enough to take out, so let's get that loose up. That's okay. As I say, because I've loosened because I've got the bike close to the ground, I'm not so worried about it just all fall into in a horrible mess. There we go, I can twist that out. Oh, one of the things I forgot to mention in the prep is, of course, you're going to need good old trusty grease. You can never have, it's not focusing, you can never have enough grease anyway. Always good for your bike. So then we take off these last few spaces. I've got 4. Put those in. I'm just putting those down. Your headset should stay in. Forks should come out nicely. and there we are, removed. So the next thing we're going to want to do is get the wheel off. I probably could have done this at the beginning, to be honest. Is take the wheel off. So we just get the axle out. Should come out nice and easy. Did that drop thing, although there's no bearings this time. I always just put it back in, just so I've got it. So I've got the wheel off. It's here. The next thing we're going to want to do, assuming that you're going to want to take it with you, is take this brake off. So what we need to do is get an Allen key again. We're going to take off this cable routing. Now the new fork should come with the cable routing, but obviously you still need to take the cable with you. So don't lose this, because I'm going to assume that you want to sell this fork back on second hand, and without that, it just makes it harder to sell. That's actually the same with the axle. The new fork should also come with an axle, and he says that just as he drops exactly what he said he didn't want to. So we've got the cable routing. Now I'm just going to take off the disc brake. Now, just to give you guys some context whilst I'm doing this, I'm not a bike mechanic. I don't claim to be. I'm a bike enthusiast, and I've done a lot of the upgrades on my bike over the years myself. Obviously, the safest thing to do is to go to a bike shop, pay them to do it. They know what they're doing. They've got the tools, they've got the parts. There we go. The fork is off. They've got the tools, they've got the parts. But it is just, oh, you might need to take this brake bracket off as well. I know I certainly will, to attach it onto the new fork, just because it fits my brakes. Take it to a bike shop, but there are some of us who like to just get involved, play, get dirty. So I'm just giving you a very real walkthrough of how to upgrade your forks with limited knowledge, the sort of basic tool set, just so you can do it yourself and have fun and learn about your bike. So with our bike off and in pieces, the thing we need to do now is get that, what we call a crown racer. It's this little ring here. We need to get that off the fork. Now you get different kinds. You get a split one. If you've got a split one, you're super lucky. Oh, talk of the devil. So I've got a split one, so I'm really lucky. The split ones, they've got that little line there, look, and it just means it comes off really easy. So whereas I showed you the tool, this one, what that would do is go on your fork, and then you just keep tightening the bolts, and it pops that crown racer off. Now obviously, because mine's split, it's already got that ability to take it off really easy. So that actually makes the upgrade for me really nice and clean. Now what I like to do when you do this, because obviously there's all the muck and the dirt, because I have been riding the bike, I've been using the forks, just take the opportunity to clean everything down. And then what we're also going to do is re-grease it all as we rebuild it. So there we go, that one, a clean crown racer that I can't believe how quick and easy it was to get off the bike. So this is the fun bit, or the dangerous bit. You'll see here, do side on, they are very different lengths. So there's going to be about 2 inches I need to cut off. Now what I'm not going to do is just cut it off straight away. I'm going to measure. So the first thing I do is find a nice sharp, first thing I'm going to do is just get a sharp screwdriver that I can do ever such a slight little, I'm still here even though you can hear me. What I'm going to do is I've got a sharp little screwdriver, won't focus on it, just so I can make a little line in the fork so I know exactly where to cut. But the first thing is to get this tape measure, just to give me an idea of where it looks like. And I'm going to measure from top to bottom, and it is about 18 centimeters. So on here, This could actually go viral for being an amazing YouTube video where bloke destroys brand new forks, right? I'm going to need to probably cut, as we said, about 18 centimeters, so it's probably going to be up to about there. We put a little mark in because I like to, just with a screwdriver, right, just paint a little mark in. So next what we're going to do is we're going to install this crown racer. Now obviously because it's a one with a gap in it, it was as simple as that. Now the crown racer is specific for your bike, so the reason they don't come like this is because your bearings, your headset fits perfectly in there. If you've got the wrong crown racer on there, so even if you're buying a second-hand fork and it's got the crown racer, chances are the one that you have on the fork isn't going to fit your bike. The bearings aren't going to sit plush. It's going to make a really horrible grinding noise. You're going to destroy your headset. You're going to need to buy a new headset. So take the one off your existing forks. Hopefully it's as easy as this one. So next what we're going to do, if you remember, the fork just came straight through. So we're going to push it through and that's it in. Oh, there you go, I've gone Manitow. So I do have a dirt jumper which has Manitow forks. So I've put them in the wrong way around. So next what we're going to do is we're going to start putting those spacers on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now obviously we've already measured it once. I've got a nice scratch there. We're now making sure with our 4 spacers on, then the headset went on, the stem went on, and then we had 2 more. What we're doing is we're making sure that that line is probably going to be, where is it? It's probably going to be, let's see, I think that was not quite right. What I'm going to do is, you can see by measuring it, I was probably off by about 4 mil. So by putting it back in where it's going to sit, you'll see exactly where you need. So I'm probably just going to need to go in between this other spacer, because I need that spacer here to sit on the head tube so it doesn't move. Otherwise I'd have to just use 1 spacer. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to draw another line with my screwdriver. This is that infamous thing I was telling you about where I misplace things all the time. Here it is. I'm going to do another line just on the top like that. So now what we should have, after we drop these 2 spacers, what we should have is my main line, the middle line, and I'm going to cut somewhere in the middle. So about 3 mil below the top of the highest spacer, because obviously what's going to happen, you want it about halfway, what's going to happen is as you tighten the bolts, this is all going to get squished down and it's going to move. So you need to be about 3 mil to give yourself some play. What we don't want to do is overcut, go too short, and then you've just ruined a whole new brand set of forks, or you're trying to find somebody who has a smaller frame than you so you can resell them on. Right, now it's time to start cutting. Okay, so for cutting, there's some important things. It's a bit weird you not see my face, but well, probably not for you guys. So for cutting, what we're going to do is we've got that line that we've created, mine's in the middle of the 2. Now, always cut nice and have the forks horizontal. Reason being is that's going to create little shards of metallic dust. What you don't want is those shards getting stuck to this fork in any way, shape or form and messing up the, because then it could get inside your bearings and it can really grind things and destroy everything. So what we're going to do is we're just going to lock this in. I'm trying to do this while also being in camera, so let's lock it in with my legs. You see this? There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to lock on to that mark that we made. We're going to come in and we're just going to go around the first lap and we just draw that line in. Now this is just from your local hardware store, so it's not a bike tool. Take your time, get the line nice and straight. See, I've got a perfect line there. To get the line nice and straight, and then we just keep screwing a little bit, turning a little bit. We always keep it away because, as I say, we don't want any of those metal shards to get anywhere near bearings, any part of the bike, because it will ruin your bearings. I mean, not like straight away, it's just going to be over time, right? You've got that friction in there that you don't want. See, my hands are greasy now, I'm struggling to tighten it. There we go. This is the famous bit where I go viral on YouTube for cutting too much off my brand new forks. I'm going to be that guy at the bike park. There you go, you can hear it starts making this cracking noise. And it goes, there we go. So this again, now this is really important. Pick up my stuff off the floor. You're going to need that file, but you're going to keep the fork horizontal so that any of these shavings don't go anywhere near this Kashima coating or whatever fork you've got. You don't want any of these shards to get in here, get into your suspension, start cutting things up, get onto your inside your headset and ruin your bearings. So keep it horizontal, and then we're just going to, and you'll see it when you start doing it. Oh, you'll see it when you start doing it. You'll see all the shards coming off, just as you're smoothing off the edges. Now you want a rounded, so you can, gone blank on the word. You want a rounded, like sander, I'm going to say, because I've forgotten the bloody word. You want a rounded one because it just allows you to get inside like this and just go inside and out. Again, just keep cleaning those shards away. We don't want them anywhere near it. So that is feeling pretty smooth. There we go. So we make sure there's none of those shards on. Now what I'm going to do, I like to do this just for a safety check, just to sort of half make sure and go. Yep, they look about the same size. So what I'm going to do here is, this is probably a tool. Did I tell you about this tool? Yes. So this is the Startup tool. Really cool piece of kit. We just stick that on the top there. Goes in there. So we put our Startup tool on the end of here, and we're just going to bash that in, and it'll put it exactly in the right place for us. That makes sense? So, and these again, I think I might have already mentioned this, I think they were on eBay, cheap enough. So what we're going to do is get our, in the same packet is the cable routing for the new fork. I'm just going to put that back in the bag, because knowing me, I'll drop it. So what we do, so I'll show you how it works. So what happens is in this star nut, you can see it right. So that's what goes, that's what the headset or the stem is, everything, the whole fork is attached to, is that. Because it's in this angle, when it goes in, because these little stars, it actually grips so it doesn't move. So what we're going to do is put that through there. Now this is because what we're going to use is that mallet now to bash this through. So you'll see there's, on this, you might not see it on here, there are lines that's a groove, so it goes the right, to make sure you put it the right way up. We put that in. Now you can see here, there's about a centimetre up. Now what we do is just bonk it in till we can't bonk anymore. So we want that black, this here, all the way down to there. I think I'm struggling because I'm holding it in between my legs. So I'm going to bash away, I'll come back to you when it's done. Okay, so I'm done. As you can see, that's now all the, I'm going to get this focusing thing figured out. As you can see, that's now all the way down. So we have our star nut in the fork. So now we're going to go ahead. Now is the infamous time to tell. So what we're going to do is nice bit of grease, and we're just going to rub it all along, up and down. There you go. We're going to get this all over so it's all nice and greasy. And now we're going to pull it through. all being well, this is it. Got the headset out, hang on. The trouble with working with grease is every part of your body can't grip things because you are too greasy. There's the headset. Get that in. Oh, it's just so greasy now. And that's okay, we want lots of grease. So I'm going to put these 4 spacers on. Here's the moment of truth. This is where you see me cry. I hope you don't see me cry. But there is definitely something in this. How do you make a grown man cry? Measure his new forks incorrectly. Ugh. Here we go. All being well. My stem should go on okay. I think because you've just done a bit of cutting on it, the shape's a little bit out on the top of the fork to begin with. But once you get it on, it's fine. There we go. So that's on. We get our spacer on. We've forgotten to put the, here you go, it's perfect, he's done it. Not today. Then we've got our top cap to put on. Probably should have cleaned some of this stuff. We've got our top cap screw. That now should go straight in. We bolt this in, and that is the new fork on the bike. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to neaten up, set up some of these, so I can give you some tips actually. We want to tighten this. I think you can get, probably I've got a tool somewhere that tells you how tight you can go. We want to get this nice and tight, but not too tight that you crush your headset. So I tend to push it until it stops being easy to sort of push. Then what you want to do is you've got your headset to line up. The easiest way to line up your headset is to actually come from this side. And what you want to do is look over and line up the back of the bars with the back of your forks. So when you're looking at it, be easy with a wheel on, to be honest. I might put a wheel on. So let's do that. Again, new fork comes with a new axle. We're going to do what we always do. We're going to grease it up, make it nice and gooey. Get that, there you go. And then get that greased up, and then we're going to put our bike wheel back in the bike. We'll worry about the rest of all the putting the brakes on and stuff earlier. This is probably where we find out that I need to put the brakes on first. And the wheel's in. New fork on the bike. So now we can use the wheel to help us line up our steering. Once you're happy that you're straight, we go ahead and we start tightening up our stem. Again, get that to a point where it just feels like you'd be trying to fight to get it on. Okay, so then we're done. I'm going to take these off the back, they're not needed. And then, yeah, really it's just the cable, so I might lower the camera and just show you the cables just for neatness, but you guys have got it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is take our new cable tidy, disc brake mount, and we're going to start connecting it into the bike. I probably could have done with cleaning some of these bolts up, as I can see mud all over them, but that's okay. I'll be washing the bike. Let's just make sure we're using the right size Allen key. Okay, so what we're going to do now is put these mounts on. It's the last part, and then we're into tuning the fork, and I think we'll make that one a separate video. So we are nearly done. We're going to get the, so I put the mount on, the mount plate. Now I'm going to put the brakes on. So we do that. Again, it should be really simple. What I like to do when I'm setting the brake is, once I'm getting close to screwing it on properly, is holding the front brake just so that the caliper itself sits, because you'll notice there's a little bit of give in where it goes. So if you just get it almost ready, which is what I'm about to do, and then you just pull that front brake, and then now we can just tighten the bolts, and it's sitting exactly where it wants to sit. And that's the fork done. Apart from the final bit, which is our cable tidy. So all we're going to do is try not to drop anything. I'll leave the screw in there a minute, because the first thing that you do, or that you're best to do, is just clip that on your cable. Once that's clipped on your cable, and we get this out, we line it up with the right size Allen key, which we've got here. Put it in. Oh, nightmare getting, my hands are far too good. Probably working with grease. It's greasy hands. So there we go, I think that's in and going. Should get a bit tighter, a bit closer. And now we've got this cable tie on. That is the new fork fitted on the Stumpjumper. This is the first video. There's going to be more videos, so I really appreciate any feedback, anything that I've done wrong with the camera, maybe the audio, any questions. This channel is really just going to be about a bit of bike tips, as well as a bit about approach and how I got into mountain biking, more just tips and guidance on what I learned and mistakes to save you guys time and money. So yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe below. Peace. So that is how we fit a new fork to a bike. Thank you for watching. This is my first video, so if you've got any feedback on maybe the audio, the video, anything I need to improve, just let me know. And then I'm open to do a video every week, and we're going to cover different things from bike maintenance, but also through to things like tips around the bike park, or tips riding with your kids, or getting your kids into mountain biking. So just yeah, give it a subscribe. See you next week.